What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. Today, I'll be taking a look at the 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver lineup. I'm going to go through all the full-time entries and the part-time entries for 2024. So anyways, let's go ahead and just jump straight into it. We're going to start talking about the 04 car for Roper Racing. This truck will run part-time in 2024. Mark Andretti is going to run around 7 races, and Corey Roper is going to run 2 truck races at Daytona, and I believe at Talladega later this year as well. They'll run more races than he did last year, I believe, and we'll see Mark Andretti run a majority of races with Roper Racing in 2024. Up next, how about the one truck for Tricon Garage? This truck will run the full season in 2024. William Swalch is going to run 9 Truck Series races in 2024, and Tony Breininger is going to run at Daytona. I would also expect drivers like Christopher Bell and Bubba Wallace to drive in this seat in the 2024 season. They're going to run the full year, and they look to have a really good year as they try to win the Owners Points Championship this upcoming season. Up next, how about the 2 truck for Rev Racing? This one's going to be driven by Nick Sanchez. The only change this year is that he'll have a new crew chief, and that is Kevin Boney Mannion, because Rev Racing is going to have an alliance with Aspire Motorsports this season. Nick Sanchez looks to win a championship for the first time and win his first career races in the Craftsman Truck Series in 2024. I think he's got a really good chance and opportunity. He was really fast at qualifying in 2023, and it looks to build upon that in the 2024 season. Up next, how about the 5 truck for Tricon Garage? This one's going to be driven by Dean Thompson. Dean Thompson had an up and down year in 2023 where he did score a couple top 5 finishes, especially at Charlotte, but also did get involved in a lot of incidents that unfortunately were not his fault. He's looking to have a really strong season and a great year with Tricon Garage in 2024 and is looking to win his first career Craftsman Truck Series race. With the field being a little more open, I think he's got a good chance and opportunity to do that this upcoming season. Up next, how about the 7 truck for Aspire Motorsports? This truck is going to run the full season in 2024. Kyle Busch is going to run around 5 Truck Series races like he's normally done pretty much for the most of his career. Corey LaJoie is going to run at Daytona, and also expected that potentially Sean Hingorani is going to make select starts behind the wheel of this team in 2024. I would also expect potentially Shane Van Gisbergen, and also potentially we could see other drivers like Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott get behind the wheel of the seat throughout the 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season. Up next, how about the 9 truck for CR7 Motorsports? There'll be a new driver behind the wheel of the number 9 truck, as Colby Howard will not be returning to this team in 2024. The driver we'll be taking over is Grant Enfinger, who comes over from GMS Racing after GMS Racing shut down at the end of last season. Grant Enfinger has driven for this team before back in 2021 when he had a multitude of rides he was racing for in the 2021 season. Grant Enfinger looks to make the playoffs and get CR7 Motorsports their first win as an organization in 2024. I think he's got a good chance to get that done this upcoming season with CR7 Motorsports. Up next, how about the 10 truck for Jennifer Jo Cobb Racing? This team is back in 2024, of course, with Jennifer Jo Cobb, who will race for sure at Daytona National Speedway, and I would also expect that Jennifer Jo Cobb is going to attempt other races throughout the 2024 season. Jennifer will not be the greatest driver in the world. It is good to see that her team, who's been in the Truck Series for many, many years, is going to be back in 2024. Up next, how about the 11 truck for Tricon Garage? This one's going to be driven by Corey Heim. Corey Heim had a breakout year in 2023, was able to win 3 races and made it to the Championship 4. He looks to build upon that and win a lot of races this year and win his first Craftsman Truck Series title. He probably should have won the championship last year, but obviously there was a lot of shenanigans that happened in the Truck Series at Phoenix. He looks to build upon that, going to be busy working with 2311 Racing with drivers like Bubba Wallace throughout the season. I expect Corey Heim to be a championship contender and threat in 2024. Up next, how about the 13 truck for Thor Sport Racing? There'll be a new driver behind the wheel of the number 13 truck, as Haley Deegan, of course, is moving up to the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024. Her replacement is going to be Jake Garcia. Jay Garcia last season drove for McAnally Hilgeman Racing, and I have to say, he did a pretty good and solid job in 2023. He's looking to win his first career Craftsman Truck Series race in the 2024 season, and is looking to put on a show and try to win his first championship. I think he's got a really good chance for sure, though, to make the postseason this upcoming season. Up next, how about the 15 truck for Tricon Garage? This is once going to be driven by Tanner Gray. Tanner Gray had an okay year last year in 2023, but it was not spectacular by any stretch of the imagination. He's looking to have a much better season in 2024 by winning races or at least getting his first career victory. I think Tanner Gray is a decent driver, but not the greatest in the world. That being said, with Toyota putting a lot of eggs in a basket of Tricon, this could lead to him having a pretty good year with the team in 2024. Up next, how about the 17 truck for Tricon Garage? This will once again be driven by Taylor Gray. He'll have a new crew chief this year in 2024 as Jeff Hensley moves over from working with Grant Enfinger. Taylor Gray, one of the more underrated drivers in the Truck Series last season, and nearly made it to the postseason on points alone, despite missing the first few races of the year. I expect Taylor Gray to have a really good chance of making the postseason, with the field being a little more wide open in 2024, and I think that Taylor Gray could get his first career win in the Truck Series this season. He's been close so many times in the past. I think he's got a good chance also to make the postseason in 2024. Up next, how about the 18 truck for McAnally Hilgeman Racing? This will be driven by Tyler Ankrum, who moves over from Motori Racing Enterprises. Tyler Ankram's had an up-and-down career in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series the last couple of seasons. He hasn't been absolutely amazing, but he has not been absolutely terrible. I expect him to have a decent year this year. He's going to be in top-tier equipment. I don't expect him to be the best driver at his team in 2024, but Tyler Ankram's looking to have a really okay year with McAnally Hilgeman Racing in 2024. Up next, how about the 19 truck for McAnally Hilgeman Racing? This will once again be driven by Christian Eckes. Christian Eckes had a breakout year in 2023. He scored 4 wins, but unfortunately did not make it to the Championship 4. He's looking to win a lot of races this year in 2024 and is looking to win his first Craftsman Truck Series championship. Christian Eckes can perform the best out of equipment, and I think he'll be a championship threat and contender in the 2024 season. With McAnally Hilgeman Racing put a lot of investment in growing their group, I think it's going to be a good year for Christian Eckes. Up next, how about the 21 truck for Floridian Motorsports? This is a new startup organization that is being started up, and Mason Maggio is going to run at Daytona. It's unclear what other races that this team will run throughout the 2024 season, but we do know for sure that this team will be attempting. They do not have any owner's points, so going into Daytona. Up next, how about the 25 truck for Rackley War Racing? There'll be a new driver behind the wheel of the number 25 truck in 2024, as Samantha Benedetto will not be returning to this team. Ty Dillon, who last year drove for Spire Motorsports in the NASCAR Cup Series, will be taking over for him this season. Ty Dillon's looking to rebuild his career and try to win some races in trucks. He's got a good chance to make the postseason in 2024. I'm pretty confident on that, and I think above all else, I think he'll have a pretty solid and good year with Rackley War Racing in the 2024 season. Up next, how about the 27 truck for the Rayoum brothers? This will be driven by Keith McGee for multiple races throughout 2024. This will be a replacement of the number 34 truck, and he'll run this truck for sure at Daytona and other races throughout the season. The rest schedule has not been determined for the 27 truck, but it will run full-time to my understanding in 2024. Keith McGee looks to have a good year with Rayoum. Up next, how about the 28 truck for FDNY Racing? This team is back in 2024 at Daytona with Brian Doza getting behind the wheel. Brian Doza is a long-term veteran in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series and has made quite a few starts in the past. This team will have a really good time or a difficult time making the field because of how competitive the field is, but I think Brian Doza has a good chance to make the field this season. Up next, how about the 32 truck for Brett Holmes Racing? This will be once again driven by Brett Holmes, who they will run full-time in 2024. Brett Holmes, of course, who won the ARCA Championship, I think, back in 2020 or 2021, looks to have a great season with this team in 2024. He did have a great year in trucks a few years ago and looks to win his first career race and potentially make the postseason in the 2024 calendar year. Up next, how about the 33 truck for the Raymond brothers? This will be driven by Lawless Allen, who moves over from Nice Motorsports. Lawless Allen had struggled in the Craftsman Truck Series the last couple of seasons, and unfortunately has one career top 10 finish with Nice. I expect Lawless Allen to struggle. He won't have any issues making the races, considering the fact that Raymond Brothers is in a really good position with the owner's points currently at the moment, but I don't expect Lawless Allen to run up front that much. I think at best, he might get a top 10, but other than that, I think it's going to be a pretty struggling season for the Raymond Brothers Racing Group in 2024. Up next, how about the 38 truck for Front Row Motorsports? There'll be a new driver behind the wheel of the number 38 truck in 2024, as Zane Smith, of course, moving up to the Cup Series and signed a multi-year contract with Trackhouse Racing and will drive for Spire. His replacement is going to be Lane Riggs, an up-and-coming talent who is the son of Scott Riggs. Lane Riggs, very, very talented in my opinion. Could have won a couple races last year in trucks. I think Lane Riggs is one of the championship favorites and one of the guys that could win the championship this season. I think it's going to be a really strong, a really solid, and great year for Lane Riggs in 2024. I think he will 100% be competing for the Truck Series Championship this upcoming season. Up next, how about the 41 truck for Nice Motorsports? This will be driven by Bailey Curry, who made select starts with Nice last season. Bailey Curry, in my opinion, very, very talented driver who outperforms his equipment on a consistent basis. I expect Bailey Curry to make the playoffs this year in 2024 with Nice Motorsports, considering Carson Osbar had a great year with the team in basically his second and third years. I think Bailey Curry will have a good year, and I think he will make the playoffs this year in the 2024 season. Up next, how about the 42 truck for Nice Motorsports? There'll be a new driver behind the wheel of the number 42 truck in 2024, as Carson Osar is moving up to the Cup Series, will do drive for Spire Motorsports. His replacement will be Matt Mills. Matt Mills has been a journeyman driver for many, many years who has made starts in multiple teams and multiple organizations. Matt Mills is going to be a borderline playoff contender this year, but I don't expect him to be as successful as Carson Hocevar was. That being said, I think he'll put up some really solid performances and might be an underdog to get some wins throughout the 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season. Up next, how about the 43 truck for McAnally Hilgeman Racing? This will be driven by Daniel Dye. The only change is that he's going from GMS to McAnally Hilgeman. Daniel Dye had a bad year in 2023. He struggled for the most part and only had one top 10 finish, that being at Talladega, and finished in 10th position. I expect Daniel Dye to do a little bit better this year because he'll have a little more experience. He's obviously also making some Xfinity Series starts this year in 2024, but I don't expect Daniel Dye to set the world on fire. That being said, I think he'll show a little bit of improvement and a little bit of growth in this upcoming season with McAnally Hilgeman. Up next, how about the 45 truck for Nice Motorsports? This will be a rotation team in 2024 as Ross Chastain, Caden Honeycutt, Johnny Sauter, and Connor Mosack will be behind the wheel of his seat throughout 2024. Caden Honeycutt will have the lion's share of the races. He's expected to run around 12 races in trucks. Ross Chastain is going to run 4 to 5 Truck Series races this year. Johnny Sauter will have a couple, and Connor Mosack will have 3 Truck Series races. This is a very interesting lineup to say the least, as Nice Motorsports will have an all-star truck, or kind of an all-star truck, in the 2024 season. Up next, how about the 46 truck for Faction 46? There's a new team joining the Truck Series in 2024, and they will have Thad Moffitt, who's been a journeyman driver, driving with this team in 2024. They will be getting some old equipment from GMS Racing and will have a technical alliance with Nice Motorsports this season. Thad Moffitt looks to have a really good year with the team. I think there's going to be some struggles and some kinks that they're going to have to work out throughout the 2024 season. But Thad Moffitt's someone who I'm a little high on. I think he's got a chance and opportunity. We'll see what he can do with this team in the 2024 season. Up next, how about the 52 truck for Halmer Friesen Racing? This will once again be driven by Stuart Friesen. Stuart Friesen had a rough year in 2023. He failed to make the postseason. He was very inconsistent. There were multiple crew chief changes throughout the 2023 season, and I think that could lead him to having some struggles throughout 2024. But I think there will also be a little more consistency for Stuart Friesen this year. I do expect some good performances from him. We know he's going to be pretty good at the bigger ovals, and I think he could sneak out a win by the end of the year. He's looking to have an improvement from 2023. I think he's got a chance to do that this upcoming season. Up next, how about the 56 truck for Hill Motorsports? This will once again be driven by Timmy Hill, who will run the full season. Timmy Hill had not a great year in 2023, but to Timmy Hill's credit, he always gets the best out of equipment. And this team will be fighting really hard to make it in on points as well for the owner's points position. Luckily for him, this team has a potential possibility to do that. I think Timmy Hill could have a very solid and good year for their standards in 2024. Up next, how about the 6'6 truck for Thor Sport Racing? This is once going to be driven by Connor Jones, who's going to run 13 Truck Series races with this team this upcoming year. I would also expect some drivers from the Ford camp to get behind the wheel. Maybe Haley Dean gets a one-off with this team. Maybe Joey Logano. Maybe Frankie Muniz perhaps gets an opportunity to drive for this team this year. But for most of the year, Connor Jones will be behind the wheel. I expect Connor Jones to do a little bit better, though I think there will be some struggles considering Connor Jones is kind of a little bit of a dirty driver. Up next, how about the 71 truck for Spire Motorsports? This will be driven by Roger Carruth. Roger Carruth, of course, drove for GMS Racing last year in 2023. Struggled a little bit throughout the season, got 4 top 10s, but near the end of the season, Roger Carruth really started showing what he is capable of. I expect Roger Carruth to make the postseason in 2024 and have a very good year with Spire Motorsports and show some good things with the equipment this season. Roger's a good driver, and I expect him to get better and better as the season progresses in 2024. Up next, how about a 75 truck for Henderson Motorsports? There'll be a new driver behind with the number 75 truck as Seven Parsons is taking over for Parker Kligerman. The number race has not been confirmed. We know they're going to be running at Daytona, but it will not be the full season. It will be a part-time season for this team. Seven Parsons knows someone who always gets the best out of equipment, and I do think that Seven Parsons could have a decent year with this team. I think he gets a couple top 10s potentially by the end of the season, and I think that Seven Parsons could lead this organization to having some really good performances in 2024. Up next, how about a 76 truck for Freedom Racing Enterprises? This is a new organization entering the Truck Series in 2024 with Spencer Boyd. Spencer Boyd will have a partnership, and also Jeff Hammond will be working as the manager of this team this year. They're also going to have some old GMS racing equipment. I expect Spencer Boyd to not do great because there's going to be some kinks that this team is going to have to work out with, but it is good to see a new organization joining the Truck Series this season. I expect Spencer Boyd, though, to have some struggles, but I think he will do okay for the standards of this team in the 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season. Up next, how about a 77 truck for Spire Motorsports? This will be driven by Chase Purdy, who moves over from KBM, but really isn't moving teams because remember, Spire Motorsports got bought by Kyle Busch Motorsports. I expect Chase Purdy to have a okay season. He had his best year in the Truck Series last year and did get a lot of top 10s, and he scored a couple top 5s near the end of the campaign. I think that Chase Purdy has a chance to make the postseason this year with the competition in the field. I think it is going to be very tough to do that for him, but maybe surprise a lot of people and maybe makes the postseason. Nonetheless, I think that Chase Purdy could have a decent year with Spire in 2024. Up next, how about the 88 truck for Thor Sport Racing? This will once again be driven by Matt Crafton. Matt Crafton has basically been driving the 88 truck since like 2008 and has been in trucks for nearly 25 years. Obviously had a lot of drama near the end of last year. He's really trying to recharge those batteries and is looking to have a much better season. But every year statistically, he's been going down in performance. Hopefully he can bark that trend and show a little bit of improvement. But honestly, I'm not really expecting Matt Crafton to set the world on fire. I think we'll have some struggles in the Craftsman Truck Series this upcoming season. Up next, how about the 91 truck for McAnally Hilgeman Racing? This truck will run full-time in 2024. Jack Wood is going to run 16 races, including Daytona. And Zane Smith, it was announced just recently, is going to run 4 races with this team in 2024. I do think that Zane Smith will potentially win with this team in one of the races that he does end up running. I think one of those is going to be at Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And I think Jack Wood will do okay. Jack Wood, of course, is going to run full-time with McAnally in ARCA West this year. It's good to see, though, Jack Wood will still be in the Truck Series in the 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series season. Up next, how about the 95 truck for CK Racing or GK Racing? This will be back with Clay Greenfield, who they will run 4 races in the Truck Series this season. Clay Greenfield, who's been in the Truck Series, a journeyman driver for many, many years. It's pretty cool to see that this team is coming back in 2024. They're going to run more races potentially. There's 2 other races like Gateway that are on their potential schedule for this season. We do know for sure as of now that the 95 truck will be back in 2024 with Clay Greenfield. Up next, how about the 97 truck for CR7 Motorsports? This will be driven by Cody Roba, who's going to run at Daytona and a couple other races throughout 2024. There's a chance, a possibility that other drivers could get behind the wheel of a seat, but as of right now, this truck is only planned to run 3 or 4 races. We'll see what this truck can do at Daytona and see if they can make the show. There's still some other entries that still need to be announced, but I think Cody Roba could have a chance to make the field, of course, as the owner of this organization. Up next, talking about the 98 truck for ThorSport Racing. This will once again be driven by Ty Majeski. Now, Ty Majeski was really strong in the regular season last year in 2023, but unfortunately was very inconsistent near the end of the year, had that big penalty was hit at before Milwaukee, and then, of course, they struggled and did not make it to the Championship 4. He's looking to make the Final 4 this year and is looking to win his first Craftsman Truck Series title. I think that Ty Majeski has a chance to do that this year if they don't make a lot of bonehead moves and mistakes. I think Ty Majeski could be contending for his first ever NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series title, looking for his first title this year in 2024. And finally, let's talk about the 99 truck for ThorSport Racing. This will once again be driven by Ben Rhodes. Ben Rhodes, of course, who's coming off of winning the Craftsman Truck Series Championship last year. Ben Rhodes had a really okay year last year, but not great. Even though he did win the championship, he only won 1 race and had the worst average finish of the 4 drivers going into the race. He's looking to have an average finish very similar to what he did in 2021 this year, and will be looking to go back-to-back and being the first driver to go back-to-back in championships since Matt Crafton from 2013 to 2014. Ben Rhodes looks to do a lot of great things this year, and I think he does have a chance and opportunity to do that in 2024. So, that is the 2024 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series driver lineup. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on so if I win a video, does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Link description below that and comment your thoughts below on today's video. What drivers are you excited to watch for throughout 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Later today on the channel, I'm going to have 5 tracks that could return to NASCAR in 2024. I'm also going to have my 2,000 video dropping as I will be reaching 2,000 videos today. Tomorrow, I'm going to have all the major silly season moves that happened in 2023 for 2024. And then on Tuesday, there might be a NASCAR news video dropping on the channel. I got a lot of great content dropping on the channel that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.